Meiji チョコレートチョコレートチョコレートが明治チョコレートチョコレートチョコレートが明治
Did you know that Japan's leading chocolate company is actually also the owner of a multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical company? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to be talking about the history of Japanese chocolate and the history of the Meiji Japanese Chocolate Company more generally. So if you haven't had the pleasure of trying a Meiji chocolate bar, I highly recommend it. I'm a huge fan of chocolate, and I really love the way that Japanese chocolate tastes. Actually, chocolate all across the world has like different unique taste to it. I think some have more sugar, like in America, and some have less sugar. So if you're a chocolate fan like me, I would just try all the chocolates around the world. So in Japan, chocolate has actually become a huge part of Japanese culture. In Japan's version of Valentine's Day, there's even a custom in which girls usually either make or buy chocolate for their little special someone that they may have a crush on or are dating. There's also a custom called giri choco for those on Valentine's Day that don't have a special someone or just want to give chocolate to a friend or somebody that they care about. So giri choco is friendship choco, which can be a joy or sadness to get depending on whether or not your crush is giving that to you. Chocolate was first introduced into Japan in 1797, most likely by the Dutch, which were the only traders allowed in Japan on the island of Dejima. However, this first introduction of chocolate was actually a chocolate drink that they were drinking in Europe at the time, but it was actually considered medicine for the wealthy, limited few that were able to purchase and afford it. It's not until the Meiji period in the early 1920s that we see chocolate in the form that we know today being sold and distributed in Japan. So this is where we get to the Meiji Chocolate Company. Meiji is not only one of the oldest chocolate manufacturers in Japan, it's also currently the highest selling. You can find its products distributed all across the world. It is now a multi-billion-dollar industry. Meiji began as the Tokyo Confectionery Company in 1916, but at this time they only sold biscuits and caramels. The Meiji chocolate bar that we all know and love today was not created until 1926, and they didn't even start selling chocolate until 1918. Additionally, in 1917, the year after they opened, they established the Kyokuto Condensed Milk Company. So at this point, Meiji has now become two distinct companies, a sweets company and a dairy company. And these two companies would make up the food umbrella of the Meiji company today. So in 1924, shortly before making the Meiji chocolate bar, is when the Tokyo Confectionery Company rebrands itself into Meiji Seika, which is the Meiji chocolate company today. In addition, in the 1930s, Kyokuto Condensed Milk becomes Meiji Dairies. In the 20s and 30s, Meiji expands to include canned vegetables and fruit. These are things that are discontinued today, but the dairy company expands to create butter, cheese, and infant formula, things that they still sell today. So the 1940s is where things start to get kind of interesting. Here is where we start to see a third timeline, as Meiji gets into the pharmaceutical business, selling antibiotics and penicillin. Shortly after, they expand to include veterinary drugs as well. So in the first two timelines under the food umbrella, we have Meiji Seika, which is the Meiji chocolate and sweets company, basically, and we have Meiji Dairies, and they continue to make food products. It's during the 60s and 70s that we start to see some of their most famous and well-known products, including Kinoko no Yama, one of my favorites, and Yan Yan. The Meiji Dairies company, of course, is still continuing to expand their lineup. They start creating a yogurt brand. So in the 1990s is when they start to expand and start making all sorts of other different foods, including ginza curry, ice cream brands, and even sports drinks. Meanwhile, in the other timeline, we have the pharmaceutical company that is still continuing to make antibiotics and penicillin and veterinary drugs as well, but they also expand to start including agricultural chemicals. In the 60s and 70s, the pharmaceutical industry is also expanding all across Asia. They start opening up companies in Indonesia, different parts of China, and even Thailand. In 1990, they're the first to create a treatment for MRSA in Japan. And in the 2010s, we've seen them move into creating antipsychotics for treatments for conditions such as schizophrenia. And they've even been working on different flu vaccines. So at this point, I want to step back and start debating on the merits of a chocolate and sweets company also owning a pharmaceutical company. Because at first glance, this seems kind of not a big deal. Their chocolate is delicious. I love Kinoko no Yama. I love Meiji chocolate bars. And creating vaccines and treatments for MRSA doesn't sound like a bad thing at all. But here's the part where it starts to get a little bit messy. You have to remember that Meiji is a billion-dollar industry, and it has its companies all across the world, which means they have a lot of power. And when you have something like a pharmaceutical company, one of the things that comes along with that is also a company of research and development. For Meiji, that's a company called KM Biologics. So when you think about it, Meiji doesn't only sell food or medicine, they also sell a lot of other brands of things such as nutritional products and supplements, something called functional yogurt, which I think is a health yogurt lineup, infant formula, whey protein and other types of sports drinks, and also beauty supplements. As part of advertising for these products, Meiji wants the world to know that not only are they healthy, but they're utilizing like the newest technology and research in the development of these products. So if we look at the page for the research and development that they're doing currently, you can see that a lot of this research is going into products that they sell. So as you see here, they have research on lactic acid and bacteria research, and you know this is going into their products relating to the yogurt and the milk and the cheese and the dairy line that they have. They also have studies on food and food allergies. They're not only looking into some of these nutritional sports research and things like that and infant nutrition, but they're also even looking into chocolate and things relating to cheese and milk. Another interesting thing to do is to look at the slogans and the mission and vision that Meiji has for its company. So if you look here, it says, "From babies to elderly, at every step, the Meiji Group has been right there giving people a reason to smile. Now we're gearing up to create even more smiles with something everyone can feel good about, a focus on wellness. After all, people who feel well with healthy hearts and bodies have a lot to smile about, and smiling spreads like a wave of positive energy as people envision a brighter future on a healthy planet. We think you'll see that sharing healthy ideas is something we can all do quite naturally. Starting today, the Meiji Group will be sharing even more ideas about wellness, ideas that are likely to spread to everyone who want to feel better. Health value unique to the Meiji Group." So there's a lot here about health, about sharing, about the way that they're going to come together to make babies grow up well, to make people happy through chocolate, and tasty food, healthy life, happy cows, all those kind of things. The group philosophy says, "Our mission is to widen the world of tastiness and enjoyment and meet all expectations regarding health and reassurance. Food and health professionals is continuing to find innovative ways to meet our customer needs today and tomorrow." So Meiji is targeting all the way from babies drinking their milk, to growing up and eating all of their food, to growing old and using all of their medication. So the thing that you want to keep in mind for any big major business is that you want to think about how if they have money to put into research and funding this research, and that research is going towards the things that they are selling, that there's going to be a bit of a bias, and they're going to want to promote and give money towards things that say that their products are good or better or healthy. So anytime that you're eating food and you see the label and the label says that this is healthy and this is giving you all sorts of vitamins and minerals and all these kind of things, and then it says we have the research to support it, you can kind of think that the company is actually funneling this money into that research to tell you that this is good. And they might just kind of turn a blind eye to anything that is not supporting that research. And this is not to say that Meiji is not doing great things, and it's of course not the only company that is funneling money into research like this. They are trying to tie all their products into one neat bow, but is it a little bit hypocritical to, on one hand, sell chocolate to people, and on the other hand, try to sell healthy lifestyles? Because of course, an overindulgence of sweets and snacks and all of these other things is actually not going to lead to a healthy lifestyle. And you can try to funnel as much money as you want into saying, like, this is a healthy part of your day. But they're also not going to talk about the disadvantages of overeating. So this is where I'm going to leave this conversation for today. So I would like to know in the comments what your thoughts are about this in particular. Do you like Meiji Chocolate? Does this change your your thoughts about them. And of course, if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. I'm more than happy to talk more about this subject or about other companies similar to this. As always, there will be more animated videos coming up to the channel. It's summertime, so I have a little bit more time on my hands to work on more videos like this. So if you want to see more videos with my face in them, please let me know. If not, stay tuned. I also have really good videos with new artwork planned in the future. So I look forward to seeing you then, and goodbye.